Oklahoma. That was in 2003 after he finished serving 8 years. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Alan West is running for Congress as a Republican in Florida, and he is joining me live from the Sunshine State. Lieutenant Colonel, nice to visit with you. Thank you.
Pleasure. Good afternoon to you.
I was reading some of the articles that have quoted you recently, and you said that in 2008 you raised $500,000 and the state party didn't support me and the national party didn't support me. This time around you've raised $2 million, $838,000 alone in the first quarter. So what has changed?
Well, I think the fact in November of '07 I had just gotten back from Afghanistan, and I was new to the political scene, and we had an 8-month campaign in 2008. So it was a matter of proving yourself and getting your message out and people getting to know you. And we finished up with 45.3% in the 2008 election, and that set the conditions for us to have a lot of success this cycle.
Well, so Lieutenant, then let me ask you, Lieutenant Colonel, more specifically, if you can, about the Democrat versus Republican idea here, the fact that most African Americans for years have voted for Democrats. Do you think the Democrats presently, with an African American as president, take for granted the African American vote in this country?
Well, absolutely they do. I believe they've come to depend upon a 21st century plantation. But if you go back and you look at one of the key indicators in the 2008 presidential election cycle, you had a same-sex marriage amendment that was out in California and also Florida that failed in both of the states, especially here in my home state of Florida, because you did drive out a lot of the black community, which really has some conservative principles and ideas at its root core.
Lieutenant Colonel, let me read to you what your RNC chairman Michael Steele said just last month when he was asked why African Americans should vote Republican. This was his quote. He said the following: "You really don't have a reason to be honest. We haven't done a very good job of really giving you one." What's your response to that?
Well, I think that the Chairman Steele is totally wrong. I think that if the Chairman Steele would go out and talk about the principles and values and go back and look at the legacy of the Republican Party, being the establishment and the Emancipation Proclamation, the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments, some of the early civil rights legislation that was done in the Reconstruction era, the first congressmen and senators were Republicans. So there's a great history that was connecting the Republican Party to the black community, and I think that Chairman Steele should do a little bit more research before he goes out spouting his mouth like that. Lieutenant
Colonel, our time is limited. My last question to you: the Tea Party has raised concerns that it may have, I guess, racism built within it. We have seen some racist signs at past events. People have said that that is not a part of the Tea Party movement. But are African American candidates aligning themselves with the Tea Party?
Well, I don't think it's so much aligning yourself with the Tea Party. The principles and values that I espouse, limited government, lower taxes, individual responsibility and accountability, liberty, and honoring the traditions of our constitutional republic, are connecting me with those grassroots Americans that attend Tea Party rallies. And I've spoken at 4 to 5 of those rallies, and I've not seen any racist type of signs.
Understood. Retired Lieutenant Colonel Alan West joining us live from Florida. Thank you, sir. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.